We are here for the fourth and final installment of our mental health crafting series. I'm Mindy Turner with the Curry County Cooperative Extension Service, your family and consumer science agent. We have been talking about how finishing a project, having something to focus on, having something maybe repetitive or using bright colors and textures can give us positive impact on our mental health. So we've talked a little bit about using positive words, we've talked about paper crafting, we've talked about textile crafting. We're gonna have all of those things today, along with what I've gotta tell you has been super fun for me, something I haven't done in a long time, but that I really enjoyed, and that is decoupage. Now, what does decoupage mean? It's basically taking a medium, a type of glue, to adhere things together and then put a coating on the top. We can use this for tons and tons of things. So some of the things that you can actually use this on, you can use it on glass, you can use it on metal, you can use it on wood, you can do fabric to fabric. There's all different kinds of things you can do. And so I've got a plethora of things that I'm going to show you, just some ideas, things that you can work with, and then give you some tips on what kind of works for me. So the first thing we need to think about is the medium itself, the part that is decoupage. Now, most of us think of Mod Podge. When we hear that, it's kind of like we think of Kleenex as opposed to a tissue. That is a brand name. There are other brands out there. What I have here today is Mod Podge because that's what we happen to have in the office. But there's different things out there that you can try. You can also make your own. The basic recipe, white glue, 3 parts white glue to 1 part water is how you make homemade decoupage medium. Now, I will tell you from what I've read and seen, when you make your own homemade one, it tends to not have the longevity over time. So depending on what type of craft you're doing, what you want it to be used for and kept for is gonna make a difference. But that's true even if you purchase your medium, because there's different formulas, whatever brand you're gonna use, there's different formulas to that. Most of us know we gotta look on there, okay, do I want a matte finish or do I want a high gloss shiny finish? But along with that, now you can buy some that gives it an antique look or adds a bluing to it and gives it a tint of a different color. Or you can get some, there's one here that actually makes a hard coating that seals it up. There's some that is designed to be used for outdoor use. So if you're wanting to seal up something to go into the garden or hang on your front door, that might be what you want to use to give it a little more protection because it's actually made for that. So if you know what kind of project you're going to do or work on, or there's something special, make sure you read that label and know what it's going to work best for. If you're just doing a standard old craft, which is what I'm usually doing, just the plain old stuff will work, or any that you make yourself. So once you have your medium, and then you're going to pick, like we said, you can have a chalkboard that you want to finish and cover. You can do 10. You can do, I showed you in one of the sessions when we talked about making your signs where you put on your decals. You can use your decoupage to cover that over, let it dry clear, and then you don't have to worry about those letters peeling off or coming loose from that. So you can do all of those type of things, the metal, your clothing, your shoes, all of those fun decoupage projects that you can put together. What do you use to put on top of that? Well, we talked a lot about paper, scrapbook paper, different fun textured papers that you're gonna wanna use, napkins. This is actually a terracotta pot. Again, another suggestion. We did a whole series, one video out of a series when we talked about seasonal crafting on using terracotta pots. This is a terracotta pot, started out just like this. And then I used a napkin that we had left over from a celebration, lots of bright colors, kind of pretty, and just put it over the top. Now, part of when you start working with your decoupage and what you want to think about is, okay, am I okay with it having some bubbles and some wrinkles and some character, or do I want it completely smooth? That's going to affect how you cut it, how you lay it out, how you put the stuff on it. So this has been sitting for a while now. It's pretty dry. I would put another coat on it to seal it up tight. One of the things I think that's always been stressful for me is I get in a hurry and I don't want to wait for it to dry. And then whatever paper, if it's tissue paper or crepe paper or napkins or whatever it is, becomes too wet, and then it might tear or it bubbles a little differently, maybe how I didn't want it to. And so letting it dry between coats when you get to that outer layer top coat is gonna be a best practice tip for what you're doing. Okay, and then of course glass, if you have old mason jars, these are great. You can use especially tissue paper and you put a candle in here. A battery operated candle, put it in there and they glow. You can put use different themes for different holidays. Super fun, easy gift that you can do. This is just a little glass pop open jar we had, and what I was looking at is doing these are some Christmas napkins, and I just can't decide if I want to do the whole thing or just cut out that pretty poinsettia and put that on there. Okay, or again, I might find a decal that I really like that I can just stick on here and then seal it up with that decoupage, and I've made a nice little fancy jar instead of just a plain one. Picture frames, this is just a wooden, very inexpensive craft frame. Utilizing some scrapbook paper, that's 4H paper that you can then put a photo in. Okay, what else have I got? So there's a lot of fun things you can do. Again, you can use fabric to go over the top. We've done fabric and family photos on plates. Just those really inexpensive, pick them up for $1 or $2, clear glass plates. And you lay it in there how you want it and get it all on there, let it dry good, and then put several coatings on the back. Now, obviously, you can still wipe it down. You're not gonna wanna put it in the dishwasher or anything like that, but what a fun gift. Or again, using your Christmas themed papers or napkins to decorate a plate, even a small plate to put some cookies or some candy on to give as a gift, just to make it that something a little extra special. And it can be done very inexpensively. So the basic tips I'm going to show you on, this is a finished project, okay, that I'm going to walk you through. This is basically just a wood cutout. I picked it up again for $1. I picked up a lot of them because they have the 4-leaf clover. We're going to be using these for some crafts with our 4-H kiddos as well. This is actually a wreath rail. When we talked about our textiles, we talked about tying shaggy wreaths and doing some tulle and things like that. That's what this is made for, to use this as your frame. You can definitely do that after you make whatever you want out of the top part. What we're doing with it, particularly with the kids, is we're going to make a ribbon hanger where you can see they can display some of their awards and things that they have won. This is a lightweight wood. Okay, it doesn't have a finish on it, which is nice for us because sometimes if something has a glossy finish, you may need to sand it a little to get stuff to stick how you want it. So what we're going to do with this, we're going to select whatever we want for our paper. And this is just scrapbook paper. You see the paisley print and the looks like burlap, but it's just scrapbook paper that looks like burlap. So we're going to take that and we're going to trace our shapes. Now we want to make sure that it's going to go the right direction when we're done. So I'm going to lay this on. So I'm looking at it backwards. So when I cut it out and hold it up, it goes the right direction. And I'm just going to do a real simple, grab a pencil and trace around that shape. Now, when you do decoupage, you are going to want to cover whatever space you're working on. So what I'm actually using here is just an old piece of vinyl because it's easy, then I can wipe it down and be done with it, but I know it's protecting the table underneath. So I've traced my clover shape and then I'm going to cut that out. So once I get that cut out for whatever pattern that I want, okay, so I've already started this one. I traced all of the parts and pieces and cut those out. So I still have my L and my clover to go. I don't use right out of the bottle. You want to make sure it's shaken up, especially if it's been sitting for a while. Some of these have been sitting so long I had a real hard time getting the lids off, but they're still a quality product as long as you get it mixed well. So I like to pour a little out on a plate. This is just plain old paper plate. I prefer a foam sponge brush to do, and then I just throw them away when I'm done. I buy these cheap in bulk, buy a big old package, and I don't usually save them. Some people like to use nicer brushes. They do this a lot. That's up to you. I find I have trouble with the bristles and making the pattern. And that now there's also decoupage medium that you can purchase that is made to make a pattern. So you can use your fancy brushes and swirls and things to make it have some type of a texture. So we're just gonna put a nice coating, okay, on the wood, and then I'm just gonna put my paper on top of that, get it lined up where I want it. Of course, then I touched it and moved it, but get it lined up where I want it, and then smooth it down as much as I can. As you put stuff over the top and you work that glue on, it may start to bubble, it may start to crease, particularly tissue paper, crepe paper, things along those lines. It may stretch a little and tend to change shape. So you're gonna kind of wanna watch it and keep moving it flat. You can use a little roller. I just use my hand, push it flat, have it ready to wipe off the glue when you get it stuck to you, and do it that way. And then I'm gonna do my L the same way because these other pieces are already stuck down. So once I get all of my pieces on there where I want them, and they're flat, and you can see on the back I have a little bit of edges sticking out. So one of the tricks you can do, particularly if you're using even metal or the wood, you can go back with an X-Acto knife and cut those edges perfect if you want to from the back, or you can take a nail file or a little bit of sandpaper and just sand around the edges and give it that little rough, kind of rustic finished look to it as well. So that's kind of up to you. If you get a good coating on it, it's not gonna come off. Okay, so that's what you're gonna do next. Once you've got it laid on there, whether you're using fabric or paper, you're gonna wanna go, and again, I like the sponge. I can push it down and get a little more on there, and then just do some sweeping strokes to cover that up with my decoupage medium. Once I have done that for the whole thing, and I can see already it's starting to bubble a little in places where I've done that, so I'm gonna just take my finger and smooth some of those out. And eventually it's going to dry with a finish that makes it look like I bought this. It looks like it came that way because it's all sealed up with my decoupage medium. So decoupage can be another fun way. You can combine your positive words, your paper, your textiles, all of that into one thing and come up with some cute, fun crafts that are great to give as gifts. Again, I'm Mindy Turner with the Curry County Cooperative Extension Service. I appreciate your time. I hope that you've identified some ways you're gonna go out and craft to have a positive impact on your mental health. Give us a call here at the Extension Office, 575-763-6505 if you have any questions or would like to request a program or anything we can help you with. You can also check us out on our webpage, curryextension.nmsu.edu. Thank you for being a part of our program.